Draftstars crew, I see some interesting decisions to be made on this Friday night. We've got Panthers v Warriors, and in that one, I'm seeing some value in the cheaper outside back. So we've been speaking about picking up guys like Dylan Edwards of recent time, and he's been absolutely incredible. But I think it's probably worthy in this one to get some cheaper outside backs so that we can dominate this game and spend some money in other positions. So if we're looking at that section now, we'll just go to that game specifically. We've obviously got Edwards at 18-2, and he's been killing it, as we said. But this could be the game where guys like Stephen Crichton, I would probably have him as close to a must-have. The goal kicking is a big one, but you can see here the last two games especially, he's averaged 40, he's hit a 40 and a 50 in those two, and that's with some nice goal kicking in that. So the game before, they obviously lost pretty poorly. So he's a guy that I would be looking to select. Do we think To'o can come out and have a much better game? I think it's possible, but he's a little bit scary at this point. So guys like the centers in him, Crichton, and Tungo could be solid ones to pick up. You see how he had that little 4-game stretch, and there's potential for that again. And guys like Taylor May as well, rather than going for Edwards. But if you do have that extra cash, then I would definitely go for Dill in this one. But I see you can get multiple tries from a few of these outside backs in that Panthers game up against the Warriors, who obviously, like Reece Walsh, has been, was solid until last game, so he's a bit of a scary one to pick. If we're looking at the other game, obviously a lot closer, Storm v Roosters, and you've got Teddy and Manu up top, who are going to be your best options. If you look, either one of them is going to be solid. Tedesco obviously averaging better in the last 3 games. If you're looking for other options, I think Nofaluma is still a great one. Had 2 great scores in a row. Obviously 49.5, a 75 last week was hectic. Olam was really good also, so they're 2 solid ones. But I think Nofaluma is a little bit more consistent. Has done really well for the Tigers, even in a team that's pretty poor. So now in the Storm, has that opportunity to come out and do really well. Nick Meaney, I think, is a great one as well in that fullback position, along with, unfortunately, Seves lost his spot. So very interesting on that one. Obviously, with how many points the Storm scored last week, all the outside backs did well. So you've got to be a little bit careful with who you pick in this one for sure. And then you've got guys like Tupou, who is averaging now 38 coming off 2 good games in a row. So he's definitely a solid one as well in this week. So really, they're your general options. You've got Suali'i, who's been averaging great as well. So if you want to play 11,000, which isn't really much, then you could go him as well. Halves and hookers, you got clear top pick in Munster. I think he's going to have to come out and do really well. They obviously wanted to keep their spot strong in the top 4, which they should. And you see his scores over the last 4, lowest of 59 at that price point is a big win. Harry Grant's been the one that's averaging crazy amount as well. 68 is lowest in the last 3. So again, he's become a bit of a superstar in this fantasy scoring the last bunch of weeks especially, and I think that there's a good chance that him and Munster get rested next week, and this is their kind of pre-finals kind of shake up, see where they're at up against a good side in form. So I'll be looking at those types of guys. Sam Walker and Verrills, obviously great options as well. And we see the return of Jerome Luai, but I still think Sean O'Sullivan is the better pick. But again, averaging 50, not super excited by that. I would rather go Munster for sure in that game, rather than, obviously that's a different one, but I'd rather go for a Munster if you're playing this, the mixed game here. And if you're playing the Penrith v Warriors one, then I think really it's a tough one to select. You could go for a Luai in his first game back and just hope that he puts on a lot of tries for Tungo and also Taylor May. 13k is pretty cheap. Would you go for one of the top guys? I think you could, but I also think that it's probably not the best idea when I think you can spend up in some other places. Obviously spending a decent amount, 12 to 14k, potentially 18 with Dill Edwards in the outside backs. And then probably going to spend up a little bit. Guys like Isaiah averaging 67 has been incredible. Billy Kickout hasn't been scoring great, but he's someone that can come out and get a couple of tries. So there's a few guys that you could spend some cash on in those games. Adam Fanua-Blake's been averaging really nice, but he's up to 17k now. Brandon Smith's still fairly cheap. You get Takaaho back, and just being a little bit cautious, I'd say, with the Roosters forwards, just given that they have such their complete full pack back in action. I think they're going to be all 40 to 50 minutes each, and there's really no point to overload them either with finals coming up. So there's some interesting ones there. I think guys like Nat Butcher are looking to get great, good time in this pack or in this team who hasn't played all year. I think Nat Butcher's someone who's going to play the next few weeks. Crichton obviously had a massive one last week as well. So I'd be looking at guys like Butcher for sure, who's averaging 70 over the past 3 weeks to come out and do well. Brandon Smith, another good one. And then you've got some solid picks there with guys like Martin and Leota in that mid-section. I think Leota's probably a little bit of a better choice. Martin's very up and down, so if you're looking to take a risk, then Martin. If not, then you could go for for Leota. Victor Radley's been great the last 2 weeks as well, so you get him at 12,300. If you can get a 50 out of him at that price, you're absolutely killing it. Kafusi's been out for a few weeks. It might be worth just leaving him. You got Tui Kamakamika, who has still been solid. Another 40 last week at 12,000 is absolutely plenty. So plenty of great options. I think guys like Lindsay Collins and Butcher, probably, you could almost hold off on Butch. I just think, I don't know if he's going to get that same amount of minutes with the two big dogs back in Lindsay and also Takaaho. So, 10,600, you think he wouldn't get lower than a 30, but there's a chance he gets like a 20 or 25 minutes, which would cause him to have some issues. But Collins at 10,600, does he get 40 odd minutes? Is he going to be, getting 30 to 40 points as well? I think either way, you're going to be okay picking those guys up, 30 plus, and you'll be happy enough at a minimum there. And really not too many other guys to select in this game, and we're probably going to leave it at that. So that's your Friday night video. Guys, as always, just jump into that link, hit that description. Jump into that description, hit that link, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hope you have a great one. See you later.